guys, here we are, Stoomboy, the Combat Companion. So, as always, shows brought to you by Hard Life Fightwear. Hard Life Fightwear offering a range of products for whether it be gi, no gi, MMA, whatever it is you're doing, Hard Life Fightwear do have you covered. As they do some fantastic custom gear, so anybody looking to come out wearing something a little bit special, they definitely hit up hardlifefightwear.co.uk and just use the discount code STOOM15. So, going to be talking then about Forza 13. Forza 13 is Rise of Champions. So, now Forza, looking to put on again another great event. Obviously, anybody that's ever been to Forza knows it's a little bit special. So they always put on some fantastic fights. Definitely a lot of upcoming new talent that we're seeing in Scotland and further afield, as well as obviously pros and things like that. So we've definitely got a fantastic card. It's going to be headlined by the bad guy, Chris Bungard, and a guy coming over from Brazil, Paulo Ricardo Rodriguez. So they two are going to be main event. So it's an absolute brilliant main event. I mean, the rest of the card's absolutely stacked from start to finish. So now it's going to be at the Portobello Town Hall in Edinburgh. Now, doors open 4 p.m. and the fight action starts at 5 p.m. Now, tickets are available. Anybody looking for tickets, if you are going to see a specific person, then definitely hit them up first. If you can't get any tickets through them, then make sure you do hit up Forza on the usual social media pages. There is no pay-per-view on this, so anybody that sees any links or receives any friends requests and so on from Forza, they are all fake. There is no pay-per-view on this whatsoever. So the only place you can see this will be live and in person at the Portobello Hall next Saturday. Now, my guest tonight then is going to be on the show that night. So my boy, Big Gio, I hope I say this right. I always get this wrong, but Olakunori.
Yeah, that's an easy way to pronounce it.
So Gio's going to be making his pro debut. And again, Gio's one of these guys. I mean, I've seen Gio for years on the scene, jiu-jitsu, and then coming into MMA, and obviously been following him the whole time. I'm a massive fan of Gio. Do you know what I mean? I absolutely love what he's doing. And pro debut, I mean, pro rules probably suits Gio better as well. Amateur rules is good, but I mean, yeah, pro rules, I mean, anything goes. So I can't wait to see what Gio does come next Saturday. So Gio, listen, absolute pleasure, brother. Thank you
Thank you
for
very
taking
much.
the time to speak to me.
Yeah, my pleasure. And really thankful for actually shooting me a message to do this. Obviously,
Oh,
I didn't really plan for it, but I was like, you know what, it's nice to catch up. I know the last one we had was about that's
I
about
think you were going to the Four Nations, was it? The Four Nations.
yeah, that's over 2 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
about 3 years ago. Yeah, I think
Uh,
so. Yeah,
well,
so
it's been an awesome ride. I mean, I said I remember you back in. I think one of my favourite memories was the Claymores. When you, if you remember, winning the Claymores, and then you were on the train, and I'm like, send me a picture of you on the train, and you had
yeah,
the picture of you with the Claymores, one on each shoulder, and like,
yeah.
who took the picture? That was like someone at the train station.
I had some strange looks that night, even from the freaking police. And they were looking at me at this train station like, "Whoa, I've got two swords," and like, they were giving me some like strange looks, and I thought it was quite funny. It was like, "Ooh," and I just had a chat with them, and yeah, and some people on
Oh,
the train, and it was quite funny.
that was funny. I'd say that's one of my funniest moments because I remember you sending the picture and saying, "Look, this is me," and you had the two claymores on your shoulders, and it
Yeah,
was like thinking, "Man, who's taking that picture?" Because I remember you travelled on your own to, and obviously from the event. Do you know what I mean? So, but I mean, that was it. Wasn't just claymores you won. I mean, did you not win the shields? And did you not get a whole fucking
Miss doing
combat?
things. Hopefully next year I'll get back at it. It's been over a year
Yeah,
for not doing any comp. Hopefully next year we'll get back at it.
yeah. Listen, I can't wait. I can't wait. So. Tell us about you then. Obviously, training HMAC, awesome gym. You've just done the move. I mean, obviously, the move to the new part, the new HMAC 2.0.
Yeah,
Tell us about the new gym then. How's the new gym compared to the older one?
it's amazing. There's a lot bigger mat space. We're getting got a ring there. We're getting another cage.
Yeah,
Hopefully we'll get a sauna, a bathroom. Got two toilets. Hopefully we get some rooms.
Yeah, yeah,
a gym and all that. So it looks is it's very it's a lot more energy efficient too, and during the winter and all that. So it's I like it. It's not actually it's literally next door to the former gym, so
yeah, yeah.
so much
So
of
not
a move.
yes, not a big move then. So just next
Yeah,
door, which is awesome. Do you know what I mean? And actually, I remember coming up, obviously the original, not the original because I know they've moved a couple of times, but the one previous, and it was always an awesome gym, really, really nice gym. The people in HMAC Inverness are fantastic as well. I mean, everybody from Ross
right, yeah.
all the way down to all the students and so on. So it's definitely a really nice place for a lot of really nice people.
Has been honestly, yeah, lots of nice people. It's been the support has been immersed in. Yeah, I like it here. Uh,
Yeah,
I liked it my former place. I didn't have any, and I know people think that I don't want to go into detail and all that, but obviously I do appreciate my former team and
yeah,
I appreciate James. You know, I'm not even trying to be because I'm not trying to do this because there's a camera. I'm trying to be this, but
yeah,
I always have respect for him. Obviously, one of the best teams
yeah.
in the country, so I can't like this is me being real.
Yeah.
Uh,
I know. I mean, me and you've spoke a number of times about it, and I know how very respectful
I
you are
appreciate that's where I
in
started.
this game.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I do appreciate a lot. I learned a lot there. You know, a lot of things I begin to connect even more from things I learned there, like in terms of the jiu-jitsu. You know, you learn
yeah,
some things, you're not really sure why you do them. You're like, oh, at some point when you have the kind of a base understanding, then you start connecting some dots. And
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And you get traveling as well. Obviously, you're coming down to the MMBJJ. Obviously, getting some rounds down
I've
there as
not
well.
been for 6 weeks now, but my goal is hopefully next. I just have a lot of things I'm trying to sort out. You
Yeah,
know, business has been a bit quiet the past 3 months. I've started doing literally, it's not much I can do here in terms of my skill set. I've never really had a full time job with my degree and all that, but there's not much I can do here. So I'm doing like deliveries on the weekends and all that. So that's why, but hopefully next year I'll quit that. And I need more rounds with the board, you know, big mark and all that. Because I was,
yeah,
I missed, I missed them. I need to get back into, you know, even if it's a couple of times a month, just get down there, get some solid rounds. I need that for sure.
yeah. You're one of the guys as well. I mean, obviously that we saw the rise of Mark McQueen, but I mean, you were training with him in the early days as well. I mean, I
Yeah,
remember you guys obviously at higher level. He would come through a higher level just to get rounds with you because you were the only person in Scotland his size. so, so
he's is something else. You know, he was, and I know I've never really said this, but he was actually. I'm quite. I'm the person that you know. I'm a bit of a who said sore loser in the sense of if I lose is on me. You know, since high school I have a match or whatever and I lose, it's always on me. But I'm the same person that comes back again
yeah,
that wants to be better. You know,
yeah,
something goes wrong. I'm like, okay, this is it. I have to do something. You know, I follow the numbers. I'm like, I have to make improvements. I have to come back. I want to come back to be better. I'm that competitive. So he was one of the guys that has pushed me for example, I never really did like, in terms of SMC because he was the first guy, you know, I thought it was just another big guy. And I was, you know, I remember the first session we had, uh, I was like, oh, another big guy. So I was going, he was, you know, I was breathing heavy, but pushing each other. And
yeah,
then next thing, boom, on my legs. I was like, ooh, okay. I'm trying to defend, trying to defend next, then this just moved to something. I was like, ooh, I didn't expect that. You know, I was
yeah,
like, man, this guy he must be really strong for the fact that I had to push, you know, I was trying to get, you know, my legs free. And I was like, this guy must be quite something. Some positions I just felt like, maybe he's this guy. And that was the first time I'm experiencing that. You know, I was like, ooh. Then I
yeah,
realized that he was a former IPF or powerlifting champion and hard worker. And I'm like, I'm looking at videos of his left, like years ago before I even started, before I even saw a standard jam, you know. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
man, I need to start lifting these weights properly. And I got a coach and all that.
yeah,
So it's been, I think one thing about my journey is like, I've trained with some really good guys, and he's one of those guys. I'm like, you know what? He's a hard worker, you know,
yeah,
he's a hard
yeah,
worker. And he's one of those guys that I do love to train with. And he, in
yeah,
some ways, inspires me to just work hard. And I
yeah,
love that energy, and that's the truth. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what's, you know,
Yeah, I mean hard work. I mean that's you as well. I mean when we talk about hard work, I mean that's something that you definitely don't shy away from. I mean I'd say we've saw that throughout your career. I mean you obviously you wanted to learn everything. Do you know what I mean? So, like jujitsu, you wanted to learn jujitsu. You wanted to learn every single move, whether you be on the bottom, top position, side control, whatever position. And then obviously, same with MMA. I mean, you went right back to the basics, started off throwing jabs, crosses, and so on. So, and it's hard work. I mean, not just at whatever gym you were training at, you always travelled about and went to different gyms and kind of soaked up different atmospheres and so on, which was awesome to see. And that helps in your progress throughout your journey as well, having them different people, because you know yourself, if you're at one gym all the time, you learn everybody. No, like you learn your training partners.
Yeah.
You learn what they're going to do, so you know what they're going to do before they do. Whereas going to other gyms and experience that and then training with some of the best people, it definitely helps you. Or it's helped you in your career.
I mean, that's absolutely true. It's been so actually one reason why I've been busting my ass working extra, instead of doing like some part-time gig down here was I'm trying to raise money to buy a van, which would be very beneficial for my business. And obviously I need to buy a ULEZ compliant van and they're not that cheap. And, I spent a
Yeah.
lot of money this year and sorting a lot of stuff. So I hopefully, because I flipped my car and on the
Do you know what?
A9.
I heard this, but obviously I know that my daughter and my wife were talking to you at Marcus's, and they were
Yeah.
talking about my car crashes, and then we
Uh,
heard that you flipped a car. Tell us, Gio, tell
oh,
us what kind of car it was, first of all.
my lovely Fiat Panda, 1 liter.
So anybody that doesn't know Gio, what height are you? What height are you?
About 6'2", 6'2".
6'2", 6'3". What are you, about 110, 120 at the moment?
Oh, I wish I'm 110. No, I'm 100. Actually, uh, I'm actually 117.5 now. I've lost quite a bit of weight,
Yeah.
Um,
So you can imagine a 6'2", 6'3", 120, 130 kilo guy in a 1 litre Fiat Panda.
I know it's one of the things that it's funny because I was actually after, I think a week after, just less than a week after my fight last year at Forza. So I was going back to Edinburgh to obviously meet up with my friends. So some of my friends were there just to meet
Yeah,
up with them. Every couple of weeks, I like to go down, have a good time with them, go for food
yeah,
and I was going and I was riding and it was dark, obviously the A9, and I saw like I couldn't put the high beam on because it was like a
car
single car
three,
as
yeah,
well. Yeah, I couldn't put the high beam on, so I couldn't really see properly. And then I thought it was two lines. I didn't know actually it was three. So I saw the
yeah,
first two, right? And I followed the one I thought was the middle line. I thought the road was going straight. I didn't know actually I followed the last line, which is basically a turn to the right. So
yeah,
next thing I've seen a curve in front of me. So I'm trying to quickly just turn to stay back on the road. And obviously the small car quite high, and the next thing is just that quick turn was just enough to just like it just went, and I rolled like 4 or 5 times, and I'm
yeah,
very. It's one of the things that happened. I thought that was my turn. A few times where I've come close to dirt, and I'm like, oh, maybe this is finally it. Maybe this is it. And that was the first time I was like, oh Lord, forgive me all my sins, and maybe if hopefully I go to heaven, and but thankfully it wasn't my time again.
yeah.
And I've never had a cauliflower ear, but I've got a little bit for because from the crash,
Right.
I never had it from training, but now I've got just a little bit. Actually, it's almost gone now, so it's not too bad
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
Yeah, and I was fine. Obviously, I was a trailer behind me actually, so the guy saw what happened and stopped and came out. Had a little bit of a headache, not too bad, just a little
yeah,
bit light headache, and then went to the hospital, did their scans. I was fine. Ross
yeah.
came to pick me up. So yeah, lucky to
Scary,
go.
man. It's
Yeah.
scary. I mean, that road, especially the A9. Anybody that doesn't know the A9, so I mean, the A9 is probably one of the I would say dangerous roads in Scotland. Do you know what I
Indeed,
mean?
yeah.
So especially during the winter time or
Yeah,
whenever if it snows, then yeah, your chances of getting up the A9 is absolutely nightmare. Especially raining as well. I mean, raining.
yeah. It's quite funny because I had the neighbor in Edinburgh who used to be a mechanic, and he told me he actually helped me to find the car because the reason why I bought the car was so cheap to run, very
Yeah,
economical. When I was a high level, it was so actually cheaper for me to use the car to get there,
yeah,
and obviously I didn't have to pay much for tax for Edinburgh. My friend was paying a few hundred a year. I was like, actually, I paid only like £35 a year, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he always told me, you need to be careful driving this car because it's quite a small car. If you ever crash this car, you might get squashed and all that stuff. And so I always try to be careful. I remember when I was up in the air, I literally had to. I thought, oh, that's it. And then in my mind, I thought, oh, I'm going to get squashed. So I actually tried to brace myself. I tried to move from the driver's seat to, the two front seats. I tried to go between the two front seats. So I thought,
Yeah.
you know what, maybe I could lose my legs. Maybe I would still be alive. Maybe just try and protect my head. And so I actually did brace, for impact while I was up in the air. And all
Yeah.
this happened in just a couple of seconds and split
Yeah.
second. And yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, as I said, I had a couple of crashes, not touch wood, not as bad as the one you had, but
Mm.
it's still scary. I mean, even like small bumps, it's still as scary. I remember the one we had in January, and I remember getting the car hit from behind, and it got spun right into a lamppost. And obviously,
Ooh,
Faith was in the car, my wife was in the
ooh,
car, and I was more worried about them than myself. Do you know what I mean? So I was thinking, like, let's make sure they're okay. I remember Faith being in hysterics because it hit the back of her car at
yeah,
her side. So,
yeah,
so it's terrifying. So something like that. I mean, obviously that. Do you know what I mean? Thank God, obviously, you did come out
yeah.
unhurt. So
Because obviously growing up, lived in different countries in Africa, and I've seen a lot of road crashes and a lot of deaths, and I'm quite, it's nice to that at least the UK has good roads and in
yeah,
general a lot more. Even though, yeah, I mean, on average, a lot better, a lot good roads. And a lot of cars here actually, you have to do MOT and all that. So in some places, people still drive cars are not that absolutely not roadworthy. They don't have the wind mirrors, they don't have lights, they don't have the wrong side of the road. So I've seen a lot of stuff, and yeah. So when that happened, I was like, oh, maybe this is it. And then actually, I didn't even have my what did I call that again? Uh,
I was like the airbags.
yeah, it never went off. So
Yeah.
yeah, that never went off in my car. So yeah, just very lucky.
Yeah. Do you think? Let me ask the question because obviously, like something like that. Do you think because of, do you know what I mean, the size of you that made it, you came out okay? Do you think if you'd have been a smaller size, a smaller weight, smaller height?
Maybe that does. I think one of the doctors maybe mentioned that or something. I think so.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think my neck. She said, "Oh, your neck," and also he said he was surprised how many people have actually died from. Yeah, I think she mentioned something about that along that lines. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Um, just sometimes maybe it's randomness, but sometimes it's one of the things that happened that made me think. You know what? My life is not mine. I'm really
Yeah.
appreciated to be. A few times I've been close. I don't like talk about it, but it's like of my growing up. I've had a lot of gun pulled at me. I've
Yeah.
had a lot of stuff. I'm not. Yeah, I've, I've come close quite a few times. So
Yeah.
um, it's one of the things that makes me realize, like, hey, maybe call myself out on my BS and be a better person
Yeah.
and live life and try and do good the best I
Yeah.
can and
Life's
think,
short, man. You know
yeah, like
yourself.
so.
Life can be short.
So
So,
uh,
um,
yeah, it's one of the things that just like try and keep me a bit more grounded.
yeah. Yeah. Listen, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're okay.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
Forza then. So obviously pro debut, as I said, obviously had your amateur career, and it was a good career. Last two, as I say, your two wins in a row. You
I
did
I
have
wish.
that one loss, but I knew
Oh,
that was something. That's something you
yeah,
wanted to get back.
yeah, I mean, I wish I had more. I wanted to. Unfortunately, the UK heavyweight scene is unbelievable.
Yeah,
I mean, I've literally even when I was at a high level, James obviously tried quite a few times to get me fights. Here, think about it. For before my pro debut, for like over 3 months, 4 months, I was just looking for fights.
yeah,
You have guys that you offer them, they don't sit, they don't. So like they go choose them, they don't, they go find, go with another matchup. So actually, sometimes I say this. I'm actually on paper probably the easiest heavyweight out there. Based on experience. Like
yeah,
I'm not doing this because I'm not a tough guy. I'm not special, and I genuinely mean this. My mindset has changed doing this over time.
yeah,
I'm just doing this to compete, and at the end of the day, still fighting. I have to go fight. And I just want to, at least while I'm doing this, for whatever moment I have to do this, I've left a lot on the table to do that. So like, I would like to compete against good guys. If I get starched and like, hey, it happens, this life, it'd be a cool memory. Like, you know what? It's quite humbling. I mean, what happened last year? It was a fight. I actually went into the cage thinking it was a 3-round fight, and then second round it was like, oh, actually it's a 5-round. I'm like, oh, geez. And then obviously 30 seconds to go, my body shut down. I had what I call rhabdomyolysis, and most people don't even know much about that.
Yeah.
I would think, oh, it's fatigue. It's not fatigue, because fatigue means I push myself. I've been in various sports growing up. I can push myself. I'm not. I can push through the pain. I can push myself. In high school and my older uni, and I've competed. All right, it's different.
Yeah.
Basically, for those that don't know what it is, I can't Google it. Think, oh yeah, it's fatigue. Yeah, whatever. It's muscle, whatever. They don't. People are. It's something that happens where you're basically, the summary is your muscle break down. When they break down, they release proteins that go into your kidneys and they clog up your kidneys. And what happens is you get extremely fatigued, right? I was in the hospital for a week, right? I was peeing blood. That's literally what happens, right?
Yeah.
That's when, you be in serious pains. Because I was punching, my shoulders were in agony. And then this happens in CrossFit. Again, I'm a guy that obviously I have extra fast with muscle fibers, with tight quickly and all that stuff. So exertional rhabdo. It doesn't. I've never lost. First 3 rounds, I'm good. Obviously amateur fight, like I said, a very high pace. They can't really, tools are limited and all that stuff. Not much time to work. So I thought, yes, actually going pro would be more suitable for me. But there's a lot more that goes into it. So when people say, "Oh, it's not rhabdo," I had people. What's his name? Paul Craig. I wanted to respond to this, but I was like, you know what? Just move on. Later on, I was like, oh, it's not rhabdo. I was like, I don't have to. If I'm fatigued, I'm fatigued. It happens. It's not like, at least I gave him my all. But it's like 30 seconds to go. I was like, and then like I couldn't even get up. Like people that they have no place. That's the thing with some people, very myopic. They have no clue, and they just sit down there and think, oh, it's fatigue. Yes, it could be fatigue. One of the symptoms that you feel very fatigued, you feel very sluggish, is that bad. It can actually kill you, right?
That I was going to say, that it's dangerous. It's what
It's
you had.
This guy, David Goggins, have had it. A few guys have had it and been hospitalized. Actually, I've had it twice, and usually in a 5-round fight. So I know for sure, my future fights, or I know for sure people will be like, oh, you know what? We stand the storm, maybe. If you don't, maybe they think, get me in the first couple rounds, whatever. Or we stand the storm, and that's going to happen. And I have to be prepared for that. I had to be able to go in the deep end. There's a reason why I've actually lost. I've lost some weight, right? I lost some muscle. Yes, my numbers have gone down the gym, but I can't be having that. I work hard, and I've never had, I had a few things given to me in terms of like gift and whatever, but I've not done much for free. I've had to work. I've had to work for myself. I've had to work to provide for my family. I've had to soil out the toilet, and that's is what it is. No one owes me anything. Life doesn't owe me anything. I've worked hard for whatever little I have, so I know how to work hard. So I know how to push myself, and I've pushed myself in the gym for the past couple months, getting ready, getting my cardiovascular, pushing myself cardiovascularly, improving. Actually, I realized I began to learn a lot of things that I did not know. Some of them from like from my boxing coach, from Roger, boxing, from Ross, my head coach, from Jamie, like things like zone 2 condition. I never knew about this before, even before my last fight. I didn't know that there's a lot I've had to learn. I've done a lot of blood tests. I've done, my supplementation has changed, my dieting has changed. I've learned a lot about myself. I actually even realized that, I have sickle cell trait. Obviously, I have sickle cell trait. I realized that, I'm more likely to get rhabdo. So that means because I have a lot of extra fast twitch muscle fiber. So this is it can be a very good thing. Because I have to look at the pros and the cons. Pros, it can be quite right. It can be quite explosive. Yeah, it can be a little bit stronger. But I have to be ready to get to those. But if it somehow gets into the championship round, I have my high IQ has to be more improved. I have to know when to be in gear 5. Okay, get in gear 2. I can't just be gear 5 and then boom and then shut down because of rhabdo or whatever for exhaustion or whatever. So I'm learning. I'm new to the game. I started this as an experiment. Obviously my coach called me an experiment. I obviously I told myself I want to go pro, right? Because again, maybe I'll get more matchups. Because again, I've been struggling to get matchups for whatever reason. Even though
Yeah,
again, I'm probably the easiest heavyweight out there for anybody to beat. In
yeah,
terms of experience, I guess. So I don't know why some of these guys, you get, they offer them, hey, okay, come on, I'm here.
yeah,
I set them so unworthy to even face. Maybe, or because if that's the case, then just make it an easy job, I guess. Because some of these guys will be okay. Here, fight this guy, and you go fight another guy.
yeah, yeah,
You go choose another guy. Or some of them will say like, oh yeah, no one wants to fight me. You're offered me. No one wants to
yeah,
fight you. Offered me, and then you didn't even respond or whatever. And that's literally this for this fight. I had 3 pullouts within the last 4 weeks. 3 pullouts. Yes, I understand things happen and all that stuff. I'm like, we know that when nobody goes into this 100%,
yeah,
into you always have some kind of injury and all that. But it's like, I don't know. The game, heavy UK. That's why I feel like going pro. Hopefully, look for matchups internationally and see where it goes. Maybe I
yeah,
should,
yeah,
maybe not. It's fine. I tried. But at the end of the day, I want to still get the test and get the results and then figure things out from there. That's what it
yeah,
is. That's just it. Because at the end of the day, there's more to life than this. But I'm gonna give it my all. What I have to do with this.
yeah. That's why I said. I mean, obviously we spoke off air, and I was saying that, in my opinion, I think pro rules suit you anyway because, and we said this. I mean, it allows you. Do you know what I mean? You're not restricted by those amateur rules. Do you know what I mean? There's certain
Yeah.
things that you know yourself you can't do in amateur. Whereas
I've
as
never.
soon as you go pro, I mean, you've got
Yeah.
elbows,
The throwing
knees, all sorts of
elbows.
yeah,
Because I remember my first fight, no contest. Yes, that opened a can of worms. So, like, obviously, I was very frustrated because that was the first time, my first fight. I've had to
yeah,
dial it down. This was
yeah,
hard because the same day weigh in, and I believe, right, all due respect to my opening, but I believe he could have continued, and I genuinely believe that, I and many people believe that also. Obviously, I was
yeah,
frustrated. My first fight. What do I know?
yeah,
I've gone. I'm thinking, okay, try to take the guy down. He suckers away, and I think, oh, we've done a lot of, Halep has a very good Muay Thai class. I was like, oh, I could just knee this guy, make him go
yeah,
down, and then try to take him down again. So that's what I tried to do. To look at a video in slow motion, maybe it was my shin graze, maybe not. But
yeah,
come on, it was never a very direct hit, not as much as he made it
nah,
seem. And then after giving him 5 minutes and he didn't want to continue. And then when I spoke to him, he was like, oh, well, you played American football. He just, I didn't want to put myself in, maybe I didn't know, I didn't want to put myself in maybe in a position where I can continue and all that stuff. I was like, man, we just, look at how much I trained for this it's better, it would have been better off if I had a loss. That's
yeah,
just, again, it would have been better off than we didn't even get to know about, we didn't get to find out. There's no point
yeah,
in just, I understand sometimes people can get when the stakes are higher. I get it.
yeah,
I get it. If you feel like you're in a spot where you can't continue, where you don't have the same edge that you had before, then fair enough. I get it. I can understand.
yeah.
But I was like, amateur, get all the experience you need.
Not just that. I mean, it's MMA. I mean, do you know what I mean? You're going to be up against. Do you know what I mean? Bigger and stronger opponents. Do you know what I mean? That's what this game is. Do you know what I mean? Um, as you said, I
It's
mean,
like,
you go
I,
into
I,
fights and
well,
you don't have that experience. You don't have as much
yeah,
experience as your opponents do, but that's not going to put you off and say, well, I'm not doing this. So,
obviously, I was frustrated by that, right?
yeah,
And I know some of this changed. Some people are like, oh yeah, this. I don't want to go into detail about certain things, but I was frustrated. I have a right to be frustrated, right?
yeah,
And obviously, I was like, oh, but I was the first. I've never, I'm a kind of person, right? Humans are humans. It's human nature, right? People
yeah,
like who they like, hate who they like, make whatever beliefs and whatever. I try and stay in my lane, right? I the general rule. I've grew up and I went to boarding school. I know how people can be. So that they say something about you, and the next thing they say something about you to another person, and I know all that. I understand that. So you never ever see me. I don't speak ill about people behind the back. I stay in my lane. That's just the way I am. Anybody that says that I've said, oh, I made a gossip about someone, whatever, for the past 15 years, never. That's not me. Never.
yeah,
Never to call me out, right? But I was frustrated, and I said, "Hey, he chickened out." That's all I said. And obviously, James was not the kind of person, he doesn't like all that, and I understand. And I actually respect someone like Sean Clancy actually messaged me like, "Oh, maybe James don't," and I apologized to the guy, say maybe I shouldn't have said that he chickened out, and that was it.
yeah,
Obviously, he said some things in the comment section. Some people I don't want to go into detail, but some people I'm like, again, many people understood that he actually was booed when he was leaving, right? Because people thought he could have continued. So I don't want to go into detail, but it's like, if you're gonna, some people, they've done, if you've done something, right? You've done far worse or something. Maybe you don't pick on someone. You get what I mean? Maybe if someone has done worse, and I've done that, and I'm new, and I'm this and that, and I'm like, I'm not perfect. I'll make mistakes. Maybe I'm a little bit of a soul loser, whatever. Like, I don't know, but it's like, it is what it is. It's like, sometimes look at yourself before you. What's the saying? Pick up the stuff in your eye before you go and try and save yourself first before you try and save another person, or pick up the little particle in your eye before you go and try to pick up another person's. I don't want to go into detail, but that's
Gio, you're the same as me. What I do is I get in a lot of trouble because of stuff I do and say. All right, so, but obviously maybe not the same, right? Because I keep going in regards to. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm very passionate about MMA, and not just MMA, but Scottish MMA. Okay, and that passion comes out. So when people say, "Oh, what you do, you can't be biased," and I'm like, "Well, I'm not biased." But what I am is I'm passionate about Scottish fighters, right? So I will follow and see if I think something. Do you know what I mean? Like, something's wrong. I'm one of the people that come out and say it. So I get in a lot of trouble because of that. Do you know what I mean? And I get messages saying, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't say this." So I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
The game is, honestly, you know what? It's the hardest sport in the world. Like, this sport is quite very humbling. Honestly, like, it is the most humblest sport out there, and it's one of the hardest sport out there. And me doing it, I'm like, you know what? Jeez, like, I had to be actually going there, going to 5 rounds and all that stuff. And I'm like, I had to respect anybody that steps in that cage. I'll never say, like, it's easy to criticize people from the stands and all that. I was like, I can't never, like, honestly. But I was just saying that MMA is quite fickle. Yeah, MMA is very, again, I don't want to go into detail about saying, but it is quite fickle. It's quite sad, but it's like, I'm just me. I've it is quite fickle. That's what I believe. It's quite, and it should never be that way. At the end of the day, you're already in the hardest sport in the world, anyways. It doesn't have to have all these other extra, complications and fickleness and this and that. So it's like, do it for anyone that does it for, I don't know, do it for the right reasons. Just Because my experience, I just feel like, do it for yourself, do it for the right reason, because I feel like it's quite fickle.
One thing I know about you, I've known you for a number of years, and I mean, you are very respectful. You're very respectful. Do you know what I mean? You're humble as well. Do you know what I mean? You're all round nice guy. And I'd say any dealing I've ever had with you has always been. Do you know what I mean? We'll sit, we'll have a chat, we'll talk away, and do you know what I mean? We'll just talk shit, whether we're talking about jiu-jitsu or MMA or whatever we're talking about. Do you know what I mean? And that's the way I feel. I mean, as I say, you never do or say things that are disrespectful. Do you know what I mean? So if I was in your position and the guy did the same thing with me, I'd be talking shit about it. Do you know what I mean? I would do exactly the same as you. Not just me, but many MMA fighters would have done similar to what
but
you did.
like, you have a case where, again, someone has, maybe everyone has it's like, you can't do I don't know, again, I'm saying this because I don't want to go into detail, but that's just a summary of, we can put one and two together. That's just it. Me, for example, man, like, me moving up here, I didn't have no, come on, like, it's the best team out there. It's no, honestly, my GC, like, I can't, of course, why not? Like, if I said any otherwise in closed doors, I'm a scumbag. Or if I did so, and I believe so, I'm a two-face. Like, no, I never. But it's true. Honestly, the summer of it all, I thought maybe I could get, more working with, obviously moving up here, training with Jamie, having more personal, like, train. That's pretty much a summer, and it doesn't mean that sometimes you should go to, sometimes some students maybe better, instead of going to, let's say, Harvard, right? Maybe you're a very smart kid or whatever. Sometimes you might be lost if you go to a place like Harvard. Sometimes, right? Sometimes you might just go to, might better off going to just a grade of, let's say, going to maybe a B grade school. You can still try and, because sometimes maybe you might just be, or like, what's a team like Barcelona? Sometimes you might get lost. Sometimes you just need to maybe start with a team that's has a lot of potential. That could be, maybe, you get what I mean? Maybe Atletico Madrid, for example. That's kind of how, it's just a better way to put it. That was pretty much it. So it was like that's the summary. People can put one and two together. That's it. And I really was wanted to talk about that, and and yeah, I hope it can put a lot of things into context.
Yeah, definitely. You got support up there as well. Obviously, Cupman Giz, Callum McRob, just saying, yes, Doom, I hope you're well. We'll see you next week, Geo. So obviously, Callum McRob, Cupman Giz. Cupman Giz is Callum's an awesome guy as well. Do you know what I mean? So he did my obviously he sponsored me for my MMA fight, and obviously did
Nice.
the hand wraps and so on. And
Yeah,
such
nice.
a nice guy. He comes down and his hand wraps are fucking awesome, man. He does some
Nice.
really good hand wraps. So yeah, he can't wait to see you next week. Do you know what I mean? So
It's interesting having to wear the it's a 4 ounce gloves.
yeah.
Very
Hey, that's going to be sweet though, man. I mean, obviously
interesting.
your opponent's been on Forza before. He fought
Yeah,
it was Eric Olsen, and I don't know what it was. It wasn't an MMA fight. It was I think it was they called it some boxing. That was whatever it was. It was almost like a boxing event. And obviously come away with the victory. So obviously your opponent
he's
seems to be a stand-up guy, a striker. Do you know what I
boxer.
mean?
Yeah, he's an experienced. I appreciate him for obviously taking his match up.
Yeah,
About I think 2 weeks out or so,
yeah,
2 or 3 weeks, about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, yeah. Because again, I don't understand. I had three pullouts in the space of 4 weeks. How is
yeah,
that possible? Three pullouts within a space of 4 weeks. Whatever reason. Again,
yeah,
I'm not special. I'm not. I don't some of them are special. I'm just going to compete. I'm just all into giving my all
yeah,
and have that belief and go out there. That's how I've always been. Even when I watch someone fight, I go.
yeah,
If I have to
yeah,
drop it and get taken to the hospital, fair enough. But it's like that's just me. That's always the way I've been. For those that
yeah,
know me in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Togo, in Cyprus, and in Edinburgh for the years I lived there, and did various sports. That's the way I've always competed. I've always gone for it. Because at the end of the day, if you lose and you're giving it your all,
yeah,
you have nothing to worry about. You know, but if you like some things sometimes not within your control. There's luck, there's all that stuff, but if you give it your all, you have nothing to worry about.
yeah. Plus, this is a pro heavyweight title eliminator as well. So obviously
Yeah,
there's a little bit of an incentive, a lot more of an incentive to go out there, do the job next Saturday, and then come back and obviously come back for that gold.
I'm looking forward to it. I actually prepared for 25 minutes. I
Yeah,
actually train. I would train for 25 minutes. I always train for. I realized, hey, I'm actually the better for me to finish fights, go in there and finish fights as soon as possible. Because
yeah,
why? uh, but I would also always train as hard to make my training will always be harder than the fight. That's the way I
yeah,
want it to be. I trained for 25 minutes for weeks. I was training with guys like Norbert. He's actually right now number one light
yeah,
heavyweight in the UK. Amazing guy, honestly. Standout guy. Lots of sparring with him. He's always, he's got quite a pace. He comes on the later rounds. He's that kind of guy. Push
yeah,
you.
yeah,
I spar a lot also with my teammates. It's lots of rounds with some boxers and
yeah,
a lot of work with my coach, my head coach. A lot of work with my boxing coach, Roger. Boxing.
yeah,
Lots of sparring, lots of. I train hard for this, and
yeah,
I feel a massive difference from people that have sparred with me. Feel a difference, for
yeah,
me that people like that sparred with me before were like, oh wow, you're actually a lot more, fitter or this and that. But
yeah.
then at the end of the day, we'll find out. That's
Yeah.
all. At the end of the day, is when the lights are on. No
Yes.
one,
That
no one
that
can,
cage door's closed,
yeah,
man. That's it.
that's it.
Do you know
I
what I
have
mean?
to perform.
Yeah. Well, you know me. I'm a huge fan of yours. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Absolutely love seeing what you're doing, regardless of what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Whether it be, do you know what I mean, MMA, jiu-jitsu, grappling, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? I'm a huge fan. I still remember. I mean, I remember when you did your amateur debut, and then I remember obviously like me being one of the people at. Do you know what I mean? This is what we've all been waiting on. Obviously, you coming out and doing it. Obviously, it didn't end the way you wanted it to end. But then as times went on, and do you know what I mean, just following everything you're doing, do you know what I mean? And I remember after that the second MMA fight when you end up in the hospital thinking, do you know what I mean, hopefully everything's okay. And then
It
the
still makes me
next
laugh
two
when I
fights
watch
after
that.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
the next two fights after that just come back and do you know what I mean, that was you. That was the Geo that I know and that everybody else knows.
I mean, the last one did feel like a loss though, because again, it was five. I had pullouts. The guy pulled out. I think less. I think it was 2 weeks again to the fight. You're
Yeah,
right. I prepared for a completely different opponent, so I had to adapt to face this Iranian wrestler. Irish champion, uh, British champion, world's bronze medalist in the world championships or so. Iranian wrestler, and so it was like I'm trying to go. So I'm thinking about him taking me. I learned a lot from that fight. I
yeah,
came very close in the second round, and in a little bit, I just did not let go. I did not go when I should have. Set it up. I was
yeah,
stream. I learned a lot. I don't want to go into detail, but my boxing coach was now like, I went southpaw when I should have gone southpaw. And in the later rounds when again, people, it could be fatigue, but it was rap though because I had rap that was actually I went up, I got an IV. I was spent the night in the hospital getting an IV, right? So again, my shoulders were agony. So that was the one that made me realize, okay, that's it. I'm gonna take the time I need off. I'm gonna
yeah,
actually work on what I need to work on. I'm gonna do all the blast tests. I did a lot of research. Funny enough, I'm actually compiling. I'm actually writing some papers. Hopefully, in the next few years or next year, I will start doing some research in Africa about certain groups of people that have certain traits. And I'm actually working this actually. So in some way, me doing this whole MMA experiment, to me pushing to increase my performance, is actually a way for me to validate some of my findings or some of my
yeah,
some of my the questions I want answered.
yeah,
So I that was the one because I was in the bottom in the fifth round. Yeah,
yeah,
yes, he tried to sell. He tried to because the fourth round he felt like he had the second win and I did not have the second win. And I cannot be having that. I
yeah,
cannot be having that. I cannot. I would rather walk away. I don't want to. Yes, I understand having muscle and all that stuff can be like, yeah, but I cannot be having that. I push myself in and I can push myself, and I cannot be having that. So I was like, I need to do something about that. So right, and I can say since then, if you look at the numbers from my resting heart rate, I used to be around 75.
yeah,
Now on on the good days, like in the mid 40s, right,
yeah,
to the 50s on average. Maybe that's
yeah,
just an improved fitness. Um, I can spar, I can recover. Actually, nowadays when I'm doing my sparring, it's 4 to 5 second rest. I like to do. I don't like to take a full minute. Like I'm doing all those little things, and I feel good. I could go. I can go at high pace. I know when to okay. I need to back up. I'm beginning to even my fight IQ is beginning to improve, and I realize that I have to systematize everything because striking is hard. Like
yeah, yeah,
one thing is okay. You have time to recover here and there. You make a mistake, you can recover here and there. But when you're fatigued, let's say even a black belt, like you're very fatigued, you become a white belt real quick.
yeah,
Same for
yeah,
striking. You have a plan and you get hit, you forget everything. So it's like striking to me is like speed chess. So I had to realize, I have to systematize my game and all that. And we'll find out. We'll find out. We'll do the test is going to be the next Saturday, and we're going to find out. And maybe a negative fight, we'll find out even more. So um, I did not like that I was in the bottom because he was coming at me in the fourth round, fifth round. I was like, damn, what's happened to me? I'm getting a bit slower. I
yeah, yeah,
thought I was doing cardio, but my cardio was like I'll do like 4 minutes a week or 6 minutes a week. That was not enough. I needed zone two. I needed to be in the zone. I need to be, and I went from that to 3 hours a week cardio. I'm doing like 4 to 5 minutes on the rower twice a week. I'm running, I'm doing my road work. I'm doing my 30 minutes of, I'm working on all the energy systems and all that. Yes, my numbers and my bench press going down a little bit. Well, my deadlifts are still holding on, my squats are still holding on. Maybe I'm still as
yeah,
strong, my plyometrics. So it's like there's a lot that improved, and I feel that in aspiring, and I feel that again. I know it's different when the whole fight situation comes in play because at the end of the day, it's all real life. When it actually has to be in a cage against another guy coming at me. But
yeah,
I'm sure something has improved. I'm sure there should be a difference. My understanding of the game, my understanding of traps and striking and all that. I
yeah,
hope that something has improved. I'm sure something has improved, and we're going to
yeah,
find out. You know,
yeah. I love that. I love that when people break it down like that because you know yourself. A lot of people come in, they'll do training in the gym, and then they'll set up for a fight. They'll go through a training camp, but they won't really put a lot of kind of, well, don't get me wrong, they put a thought process into it, but they don't break it down to exactly as you broke it down there. Do you know what I mean? So, which is awesome. Do you know what I mean? So I can't wait for next Saturday. I can't wait. Do you know what I mean?
The same approach I'm taking, for example, striking. The same again. I said again, striking is like almost like speed chess. You don't have much time to think, because for you to think, boom, you get hit, you forget everything. So it's like it's different. That's why you have to have this quick. Okay, start here. Okay, like quick, almost like speed chess. You learn traps. You learn that's why you learn combos, because you don't have time to. Oh, okay, my cross. What do I do now? You can't do that. That could be the difference between winning or losing. Jiu-jitsu, but more. The reason is obviously being strong helps, being athletic helps, but it's like the same approach with jiu-jitsu. It's like people are, oh, because you're strong and this and that. No, when I started, like I have 500 pages.
Yeah.
Of screenshots. I'll stay up at night. I'll ask my guys. I'll ask my coaches question. How do you do this? I'll send him links, and I'm taking screenshots. I'm doing PTs. I'm on P twice a week. PTs of jiu-jitsu. So like I learned something. Because I just thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. If I learn all the submissions, they're all obviously it's not always practical. But it's like I just thought about. I was like, when I go 70, when I start, I get hooked. I'm like, go here. I was like, can't have this. Again, a little bit of a souls. I'm like, oh, I need to better. Not on the person. I never blame anybody for it. I've never done that. Again, my high school coaches and all that. I've never ever. It's all on me. I'm dark like that. It's all on me. I blame myself. I have to get better. I'm not good enough. And I'm like, okay, I stay up at night and I'm watching videos. I'm like, okay, this is how to defend a Kimura. This is how to, okay. Oh, okay, this is what to do. So whenever I'm in that situation, I try it out. When I'm against a big guy and they try to me and I try and it works out, okay, and it sticks. Then don't forget that. That's just it. Obviously, every now and then, maybe someone will catch you wherever. And that was it for me. That's some approach to that. So that it's not. Just says again, is like chess. Striking is like speed chess. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. I remember TJ used to say him and you used to train at high level. He always loved training with you. So TJ always came home and said, I was with Big Gio tonight. And do you know what I mean? We were training. We were, do you know what I mean? Doing whatever you guys were doing. And he said you were always a great training partner. Do you know what I mean? So, so he's the same. He's got a huge amount of respect for you as well. So, so final thing then. I will do. Well, he's getting back into it. He's getting back into it now.
Nice. Good.
He snapped his ankle, unfortunately, in training. Just a freak accident, and he's now obviously he's starting to come back in it. I think he's talking about doing Scottish grappling comp next weekend. So just to do some jiu-jitsu, just so he can get himself back competing again. So
I think everybody should be, involved in martial arts in some form. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not. My two younger brothers have been like one lives in Rwanda. He's like, he's been going to the jiu-jitsu school. It's not that popular over there, but he's joined a jiu-jitsu school. The other younger brother, they're both a lot smarter than me. They go a couple IQ points ahead of me, even though we're from the same parents. But one was like, I'm gonna have a boxing fight. I don't care if I lose. I'm like, be careful. You're flirting with danger here. Like you can't just. I just want to have the experience. I'm like, I get it, because they're both. Probably never been in, apart from fighting each other or whatever. Maybe the youngest one, maybe he was a little bit stubborn like me in some sense. But I respect that. I think everybody should be involved. Kids should be in some. There's a lot that martial art teaches you as a person. I know sounds very cliche, but it's really true. It's really true. Think about it deeply.
HMAC Inverness just saying, who's the best chess player at HMAC?
It's me. It's me.
I'm presuming that's Ross. I don't think Ross knows how to play chess.
Actually, it has to be me, actually. Ross is actually good. He beat me a couple of times. in like dozens of games. Actually, I've always been, I don't know. So far, I'm not, so far, I hold my ground,
Yeah. So there we go, Gio.
I don't go my home too much, but
So Gio's the number one chess player at HMAC Inverness.
I actually was when I played at high level too. It was, I had lots of games with Stevie Ray and all that. Lots of games. He's very competitive too. He's honestly, I was surprised. He's so good. He's actually a very good chess player. I was surprised that when I played him, and Ross too. Actually good.
Nice. So there we go, guys. Gio. Number one chess player at HMAC Inverness. Number one.
I
so,
hope they will agree. I hope Russell agree to that.
so final thing then, Gio. So obviously, again, you've been in the game for a while, had some amazing training partners over the years, but anybody in particular you want to shout out to just now? Any friends, family members, teammates, anything like that?
So many people, like the list will be endless. Basically, anybody that's helped me learn one or two things in this game, and I genuinely mean that. I'm a kind of person I get a buzz from learning, and
Yeah,
like I learn a lot, and I someone from my from where I started from scratch at high level. I learned a lot from. I honestly learned a lot from there.
yeah,
To my current team, I learned. Improved. In a lot of areas. I have so many people to thank. My current coaches, my former coach, like my boxing coach, my training partners in the same team, or even those I've trained with are now with them, maybe not in the same team. From you know SBG Murray, the guys I've trained with there, to MMBJJ, to like the list is endless. So I
yeah,
have I can't like I'm grateful of anybody that's played a part in my progress.
yeah,
I've taught me one or two things in this game.
yeah,
I really am.
yeah. So, guys, there we go. Big Giovanni Olakunori. I never get that right. I will never get that right, Gio.
Uh,
But
I like to say Olakunori, but actually the right way to pronounce it is Olakunori. But then I
okay,
realized that'll be quite hard you know, for people to pronounce. Just like to say Olakunori. To
yeah.
pronounce it how it can be spelled in English, I guess.
Listen, Big Geo. That's what we call
Very
you.
much.
That's Big Geo. So that's Geo HMAC Inverness. Going to be
Yeah.
heading to Forza next Saturday. I'd say it's Portobello Town Hall. Okay, doors open at 4 p.m. and the first fight kicks off at 5 p.m. Now, anybody that needs a ticket, make sure you hit up Chosen Fighters first of all. So they will still potentially have tickets left. If not, then make sure you do hit up Forza on social media, so whether it be Instagram, Facebook, and so on. There's no pay per view on this. All right, definitely no pay per view. I don't think there is ever pay per view on Forza.
I mean,
Um,
obviously, I told him that it could be a way to get extra revenue because I have quite a few people that want to, watch it. But
yeah,
obviously, he has his reasons why he didn't want to,
yeah,
get any pay per view for this one.
yeah,
Hopefully, the next one, it would.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd say definitely no pay per view. So because we know that there's links going about saying they've got Forza on pay per view and so on. It's not true. Do you know what I mean? Don't get caught
Yeah.
by these. These are fraudsters that are trying to get your money. So do not do it at all. Only stick to reputable, like the Forza Facebook, the Forza Instagram, and also the fighters themselves, because the fighters will post up links for tickets and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you do not get conned out at all. So next Saturday, the 9th of November. So
Ooh.
Big Geo,
Those. Yeah.
Wayne Morgan, as it's going to be
Uh,
the
yeah.
co-main event of the night, uh,
It's gonna be fun.
pro debut. So title eliminator as well. So if
Yeah.
Geo
Yeah.
obviously comes
Looking,
through
looking,
this,
looking, looking forward to it. I'm excited.
yes,
Uh,
definitely. Well, listen, absolute pleasure, brother. Thank you very much for
Thanks very much
obviously
for
taking the time to speak to us. It's
having.
great, obviously, having a chat with you. Just the last comment, Enzo Parente just coming in saying, well done, lads. See you soon. Stay safe. And again, thanks for the support.
And
So,
I think Enzo is like honestly, he's when my last fight last year, he took care of me. Man, the guy's been trying like people say this or that, but it's like I he's trying a show in Scotland.
yeah,
Anybody that tries organizes a show in Scotland to promote MMA, martial arts,
yeah,
like come on, give him he deserves my respect. The person deserves my
definitely.
respect, and I really appreciate him for throwing the show,
Yeah.
having me there, and yeah, I mean,
And
these are
finding
great
you an opponent as well,
entertaining
Gio.
people.
And
Yeah,
finding you an opponent as well. Do you know what I mean? Because
and
as I say, we
finding
had,
opening again. That was think about it. So again, 3 pullouts in four
yeah,
weeks. Message
yeah,
people. I've done things like messaging a bunch of people randomly just to get matchups. Again,
yeah.
well,
Yeah. Listen, we're here next Saturday. I know Wayne Morgan's not pulling out. Wayne Morgan's a fighter, so
I know
he
he's game,
he's
and I
not
love that.
but he's not pulling out at all.
Yeah,
So but
looking
listen,
forward
enjoy
to
the
it.
rest of your week anyway.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see you and obviously the rest of the team. But
Thank you.
again, stay safe, and we'll see you in about a week's time. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I really
Thank
do
you,
appreciate it. And peace.
Yes.
Peace,
Take
everyone.
it easy. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye-bye.